There's people there to help you register, Alisa and Carol. So they are waving at you back there, so if you're wanting to go ahead and do that, thank you. There's going to be a second line, a show, and a jam session. So, and if you didn't get any dinner, Bill is going to take you out for dinner. Okay. So at this moment, dinner is officially over.
This show has not been rehearsed at all, so Davis has some fun things coming up for you. But what Twyla was saying was that we're going to do a second line. This is a New Orleans traditional thing. You know, we love New Orleans, and it's very much like the music here in Detroit. New Orleans is a beautiful place, and the music is so rich down there. That's the birthplace of jazz. The musicians and the first in line. And the rest of you who want to go outside into the 98-degree weather and walk down the deck. The rest of you who are chickens can stay in here and sit in your seat. Thank you.
So we're asking you how you know Bill and how many times has he gotten you to do things?
Well, there we go. This is what I want.
I think where I seen you, you were on at the Jazz Fest. You played at the Jazz Fest for, no, you didn't play at the Jazz Fest. But how do you know Bill?
Well, we met through a mutual friend, and I don't know how many years ago that was, a photographer buddy of mine, Michael Cernak.
Okay.
And then somewhere along the line, Bill met my daughter. They both lived in Hamtramck.
Okay, yeah.
So we know each other through musical connections.
Great.
And actually, my wife and I live in New Orleans now, so Bill has been down in New Orleans a few times and stayed with us.
Sure. And has he gotten you to play musical things with him or anything?
Oh, yeah.
All the time, right?
I was playing with him last night at Burt's.
Well, Bill does that to a lot of people. You know, he puts something together and we all come together and help him. What do you think?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
How about you? What's your...
My story with Bill, I started working with him at Wayne State University. He was a piano player for the Department of Dance. And then he would have these jazz trios or something. He'd say, "Hey Gary, come on over. Can you film this for me?" I'd say, "Oh, sure, Bill, I could do that." And he'd say, "Hey, can you play this? Can you do this?" And it was, just over. And I've known him now for 22 years, and I've done all kinds of fun stuff with Bill. Yeah.
Funny how all these
little things come together to make him and his wife's life just go. Barbara and Carol.
Yep.
So we're just running around and getting like little snippets of how you met Bill and what Bill has made you do over the years. So how long have you met Bill? How long have you known Bill?
I've known Bill for 32 years when I married into his family.
Oh.
Mother-in-law was his sister.
Oh, okay. Sure. So he's gotten you to do a lot of things.
No, he's gotten me to enjoy jazz, which I never did before.
I know. I come from the rock and roll world down in Cleveland, and then I moved to Boston, and then I ended up here, and they got me into all this jazz stuff, and I do appreciate it. And Barbara?
Yes.
And you are related to Bill?
Yes. Well, not by blood, but.
You want to talk to the camera? Hi.
I see. Hi.
Hi, Bill.
Yeah. Bill knows me very well. I've known Bill for more than 42 years.
Wow.
I met Bill in 1975. So, what is it, 44 years ago?
Yeah, because I met him in 95.
Yeah. Met him in 75 when I was dating his nephew, who was staying at his house while Bill was in Wisconsin at Nippersings. And he was house sitting for Bill. And I met him and Heather and Tracy and Twyla all in the same day when they came back from Wisconsin. And Bill and his band played our wedding in 1978, which was really cool. Taught everybody the hustle. Yep. Yep. And what has Bill made me do? Let's see, he's made me sing Christmas carols at Christmas.
There you go. Get up on stage or just no?
Oh no, this was at his sister's house, my mother-in-law's house. And he'd just sit at the old spinet.
And it's not like
Made us all play spoons.
That's right.
Every Thanksgiving.
Yep.
We played spoons.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
Cutthroat spoons.
Okay.
Didn't Blair get injured one
we
year?
have the scars to prove it, don't we? Yeah. Yeah, we had fun. We had fun. Bill always made us have fun.
And
Oh, he always brought over games too. Games we'd never heard of. And we'd be learning the rules to these obscure games and ended up having a ball with them, having a lot of fun.
That's great.
Yep.
All right, well, let's go find some other.
Yeah, go find some more.
You want to say happy birthday to him?
Happy birthday, Uncle Bill. 2 days ago. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Uncle Bill.
What we're doing is we're telling Bill stories. You know, how we met Bill or a funny story about Bill, and we're wishing him a happy birthday.
I never met him.
You never met him? Good.
The real Bill. I only met
Well,
him
you never know the real Bill.
Violet, come in here and say something.
Come on, yeah, Violet.
Hi, I'm Violet. I met Bill through friends at his house or their house. I don't remember which.
When he used to win all the movie.
Oh, yeah, no. We used to go to his film nights, whatever. I'm not very good at this stuff.
Are you guys musicians? No, okay.
But I would extol him this, never to have another drum circle at midnight in the neighborhood.
Oh, you live in his neighborhood.
We're all there banging away on drums, and the neighbor comes around the corner and says, you know, it's midnight, and I know you all think you sound really good, but you don't.
Very good. Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
Yeah. You know a story about Bill? And then we're wishing him happy birthday, too. You got to step in close to the microphone.
Okay, well, I used to play volleyball with Bill, and I kind of learned
Good, I see.
that you play volleyball but use walls in the back of the court and everything. And we would play at the Hamtramck High School, you know, once a week, and it was one of the greatest times I had in my life as far as sports go, because you know it was a great bunch of guys. I unfortunately developed arthritis in my shoulder and had to give it up, but so it's one of the things that I remember very fondly about Bill.
And your name is?
Jim West.
I'm going to give you a little brief outline of my family, because no one else is going to talk about them like this, so I might as well do it, eh? So you can meet my family. Here we go. First of all, my family. Start the first picture there. Oh, well, there it is. Guess what that is? Okay, my family is from Canada. My mother and father were born in a little village outside of Guelph, Kitchener area right there, and it's a German community, but I never identified as German or anything. I don't. If anything, I identify as a Canadian because I love Canada, but I love the U.S. So I don't know, but I love the world. So here's Canada, and this is where my family came from, and in this little village that lived around this church on a hill, and that church on a hill, and now this is my mother's family. This is my mother in the back there, second from the left, with the long curly black hair, and those were her 7 brothers and sisters, and the parents right there. My grandpa and grandma, who I never met, they passed before I was born. But he owned a grocery store and a repair shop and all sorts of stuff. And those are all my aunts and uncles. This is my mother. She was a nurse, and she studied nursing. And that's when she graduated. And another nice picture of her that I rarely see. And that's me. How did I get in there? Next one. Okay, that's better. So that's my mom and me. So what happened was my mother lived in this very conservative Catholic little village in Canada, and she apparently got pregnant where they weren't married, and you don't live without being married and you don't live in a village like that. So they had to leave, and they came to Detroit in 1929 during the Depression. I mean, the worst time to come to America. They came to Detroit and struggled. My dad worked on a steamship, so he was never around. He just plunked my mom in the city, and she raised my kids, and she was a nurse, and she tried to be a nurse and raise me. And that was, picture me at maybe 1 year old. That's me, again. She wanted a girl. So I was, she thought I was cute, so she entered me in some beauty contests and all that sort of stuff. That ended around 7 or 8 years old. Okay, next one. So they tried to get me into music very early. My father was an accordion player, and my mother's father was a church organist, and he also played violin, and he toured with a string band that played at weddings and stuff, which I did for 40 years, and I never knew that. Till years later. They never told me. I saw these pictures later. But I realized they taught me accordion when I was a little kid, and they got me hooked on television. And it first came out in 1948, I think this is. That's one of the first TV sets ever made. All right. By the way, I actually lived at the same time of World War II. That's how old I am. 1945, the war ended. I was born in 44, so. For a year there, the war was going. That's how old I am. I was alive during World War II. Wow. How many people are older than me out here? Oh, really? Oh, well, okay. Stand up if you can. Let's hear it for the folks older than 75. Whoa, check it out. Keep it going. So let's see, who would be the oldest? Who's over 90? Back there, 99. Sandra's mother. Yes, sir, 99. Okay, who's younger than me? Okay, the rest of you guys, I'm not figuring out. Okay. All right, so now, oh yeah, I didn't finish the pictures. Okay, so here's me with flowers sitting on the steps in my house on Gratiot and Elmwood. That's where we were living. I was born on, I've moved like 5 miles in my entire life, 75 years. I've gone from Gratiot and Elmwood to Hamtramck. 5 years, 5 miles, 75 years. But I went around different places in between there. Okay, next. And there's me with my first friend, the first kid. He was named Aldo Ridi, and he's Italian, and there were a lot of Italians in the neighborhood at the time. This was after the war, a lot of Italians came to America and lived in the U.S., and I never knew him, but 45 years later, I find out he lives in San Marino. I saw him in a political newspaper I was writing for, and he's got the same political feelings as I do, and he's done the same thing as I have all my life. I never knew that. I was so shocked. We're like this. We're like brothers. 45 years later, Aldo Ridi. And that's my LK line stands. Okay, that's my house on the shore when we lived on the shore. So here's a picture of my sister when she was younger, my dad there. And that's me and my sister at the top there. So my brother was born in 30, my sister was born in 32, and I was born in 44. So that's the three of us, three kids. That's my brother, Bob, who is a piano player, musician, jazz player, and writer, arranger. Same thing I did. I mean, he's 14 years older than me. And he lived here and he worked at it. He went to Wayne State and worked with the symphony and did Rhapsody in Blue and all that sort of stuff. He was a very great musician. He passed away about 12 years ago. We rarely saw each other. And then, here's the three of us, my brother, sister, me, at an age when I was about 15 or something like that. Marilyn, Bob, Marilyn, and Bill. Okay. So my mom and dad had three kids. That's my sister when she was young, and my brother and sister at the top and stuff like that. So that's when my sister got married. I don't have any. I got so many pictures I couldn't find them. I didn't. This is reduced. I didn't show you my brother's wedding, but this is my sister's wedding, and that's my mother and my brother-in-law Joe and Marilyn, who lived till just a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, and they were my last close relatives on my generation. And I had no brothers or sisters, aunts and uncles, and none left at all. So you guys have to fill in for it now. So, next. And they had 8 kids. 8 kids! And when my mom died, I was 15 years old, and they let me stay and live with them. And at the time, they had 4 kids. Here they are a little later. They had my sister in the corner, my brother there, and they had 8 kids. There's 7 of them, because the other one's getting married, and it happened to be here, I think. It's Steve and Barb. Where are you, Steve and Barb? Stand up. That's your wedding, isn't it? That's right. Okay, the other 7 kids are there. Okay, now this is my brother before he headed off to play the Rhapsody in Blue with the Detroit Symphony at the Rotunda. Remember the Rotunda? Yes, Ford Rotunda. Yeah, look how tall and skinny he was, unbelievable. This is our wedding, that's me and Twyla. 52 years ago. And we've only ever had one argument, and it's lasted 52 years. That's my brother, and it's a little too dark of a picture, but Twyla and me and Heather. That's Heather. When I visited my brother just before he passed away. And this is another reason I'm doing this, because my brother, the last 6 or 7 years of his life, he was in bed totally with it. He had 3 or 4 strokes. He couldn't talk, he couldn't do anything. Just laying there, I couldn't communicate with him. And, you know, what do you do? He just laid there. And he was a great musician and all that. I fear if anything like that happens, I want to at least have a big party and say hi to everybody. So that's Tracy nowadays. She's living out in Venice. That's my oldest daughter. And that's my other daughter, right here. Heather. And this is the whole family with my 2 grandkids, and me and Twyla, and Tracy, and Heather, and Blair, and Scotty is there up there. Stand up, Scotty. See, that's Scotty right there, up there. Okay. All right, and now Tristan, that's one of your mom's arms there. Put some card up there. What do you think? Cry. There's our photo shot. That's another one of the family. Is that cool or what? That was at the casino. That was Heather's birthday. And there's Mom and me, Twyla and me, and the 2 kids, these guys here. We got like 10,000 pictures of these kids, and movies and everything like that. So, yeah. And that's me and Twyla. Yeah. Wow. Okay, next one. And here's my daughter Tracy and her boyfriend Eric and Twyla and me. Okay? Okay. So now here's some pictures, 5 or 6 in a row here, of the 4 of us through life, through time here. So this is pretty much when we first started. This is at a resort, Nipissing Resort, where we worked resorts for many years. And me, I had a lot of hair around a while, and mutton chops, and I had a lot of different looks. And the kids are about 2 and 4 years old there. Next one. That's a little older. that's at one of the Novak weddings. I forget what one. Here's, you can hardly see that, but that's sort of, and that's another dark picture. Okay. Oh yeah. There's the hairdos. Check the hairdos out. This had to be the 80s or something like that. Yeah. That's when I had short hair. The women had the big puffy stuff. Oh yeah, that's in our backyard in Royal Oak. And there's a cool picture. So, and that's the part of our family that rules the roost now. That's the dog. That's Tanya. That's Twyla and Tanya. So that's, I had to consider her as part of the family, or else I won't be able to go back home. So that's George Crockett. Bill Shafi from Palestine. Next one. Aldo Righi, my first friend in life, and his wife, living in San Marino. There he is with me. Three of my favorite, closest friends in show business, Marcus Belgrave, Charlie Gabriel, and Joey Day. Tremendous entertainer. A sort of dark picture, but that's DJ Holiday. And John Baraka. Ran for vice president last year. Brilliant mind. Steve and Barbara Balkan, they were my first band, a Jewish band, and they taught me all about Jewish culture, and then I went on and worked in the Jewish world for 30 years, playing for bar mitzvahs and weddings, and he's the greatest guy, greatest sense of humor. And Jose Hamilton, you saw him in the video earlier, I love this guy, he's a great singer. Next, that's Tayo Luco, who you'll hear in a minute. He plays Paul Robeson. He travels around the world playing all the Paul Robeson shows. There he is with Karl Marx together. My gosh, Robeson and Karl Marx. Okay. Next one. There's Karl Weinstein, one of my comrades, one of the most beautiful people. And his wife, Stella Weinstein, who is now, I think, 99. It just went to the, is she 100? 101. She just went to the hospital where he was at when he passed down at the Veterans Hospital. She just went in last week. Stella lived to be 101 and more. Maybe she's still there. As Carl and Stella Weinstein played a big influence in my life. I love those people. This is John Froman. Let me mention John Froman, one of the greatest songwriters, activists. He lived out in Seattle. He passed away. He's a dear guy, dear friend. Dr. El Ghazali from Hamtramck. One of my favorite, one of the first Muslims I met in Hamtramck when we moved there 20 years ago. He was on the city council, ran for mayor a couple times. Great guy, I love him, that's Twyla. And this is Sakura Kone. He's a historian down in New Orleans, got to be my best friend down there. And he works at the, Whitney Museum, which is the slavery museum down in New Orleans. If you ever go to New Orleans, you have to go to the Whitney. It's the only plantation in America, the museum, that actually talks about the slaves. And he knows all about it. Now, here's some people I never got to know, but I said, why not? Put a few of them in here. These are women that I admire that are heroes of mine. Nina Simone, who said, we never talked about men in clothes. It was always Marx, Lenin, and revolution. Real girls talk. Yes. And then, here's Celia Sanchez from Cuba. Truth is the first casualty of a dictatorship. She sacrificed her life for the revolution, for the people of Cuba. Rosa Luxemburg, for a world in which we are socially, equally, humanly different, and completely free. That's what we're fighting for. And that's a picture of zebras. Okay. That's just a few, like one, I mean,
It was just one of those things, just one of those fabulous flings. one of those bells that now and then ring. It was just one of those things. It was just one of those nights. Just one of those fabulous flights. A flight to the moon on gossamer wings. It was just one of those things. If we thought a bit about the end of it just before we started to paint the town, had we been aware that our love affair was too hot, ooh, not to cool down. So goodbye, dear, and amen. Here is hoping we'll meet now and then. It was great fun, but it was just one of those things. If we thought of it, about the end of it, just before we started to paint the town, had we been aware of our love affair was too hot not to cool down. So goodbye, dear, and amen. Here is hoping we'll meet now and then. It was great was just one of those things.